Coffee is more than just a drink. It's a global ritual enjoyed by billions every day. But this beloved beverage is facing an existential threat. As temperatures rise and weather patterns become more unpredictable, coffee production is under immense pressure. If current trends continue, we could soon be looking at a future where coffee is scarce, more expensive, and of lower quality. Today, we're diving into how climate change is disrupting coffee production in 2024 and what that means for the future of your favorite cup of joe. Let's set the stage. The global coffee industry is currently valued at around $460 billion, with over 2.5 billion cups consumed every single day. The two main types of coffee beans, Arabica and Robusta, continue to dominate the market, with Arabica making up about 60% of global coffee production. But here's the catch. Arabica is especially sensitive to climate change, and in 2024, we're seeing the impacts play out in real time. Recent reports indicate that global coffee production for 2024 is projected to drop by about 5 to 10%, largely due to climate-related challenges. This decline has put significant pressure on prices. In August 2024, coffee futures hit a 10-year high, largely due to poor harvests in Brazil and Colombia, two of the world's largest coffee producers. One of the clearest ways climate change is threatening coffee production is through rising global temperatures. Coffee plants, particularly Arabica, thrive in a narrow temperature range of 18 to 24 degrees Celsius. As temperatures exceed these levels, coffee plants suffer from heat stress, which reduces both yield and quality. In 2024, several key coffee-growing regions have reported record-high temperatures. Brazil, which accounts for roughly 40% of the world's coffee, experienced its hottest year on record, with temperatures soaring to over 35 degrees Celsius in many coffee-growing regions. This has led to smaller coffee cherries and lower bean quality. What's particularly worrying is the long-term forecast. A study published in early 2024 by the International Coffee Organization predicts that by 2050, up to 50% of the land currently used to grow coffee could become unsuitable due to rising temperatures. This shift is already forcing farmers to consider moving their crops to higher altitudes, but in many regions, there simply isn't enough higher ground available. It's not just the heat. Unpredictable weather patterns and extreme climate events have wreaked havoc on coffee production in 2024. In particular, Brazil and Colombia have faced the dual threat of droughts and heavy rains, both of which are detrimental to coffee cultivation. Early 2024 saw an extended drought in southern Brazil, which delayed coffee flowering and stunted the growth of coffee cherries. Then, just a few months later, heavy rains caused widespread flooding, damaging crops, and washing away vital nutrients from the soil. These erratic weather patterns have led to one of Brazil's worst coffee harvests in recent memory. In Colombia, excessive rainfall has fueled the spread of coffee leaf rust, a fungal disease that thrives in wet conditions. Coffee leaf rust has devastated large swathes of coffee farms in the country, reducing yields and threatening the livelihoods of thousands of smallholder farmers. Colombia's coffee production is expected to be down by around 12% in 2024 due to these issues. Another growing concern is the spread of pests and diseases. Warmer temperatures and increased rainfall have created the perfect breeding ground for pests like the coffee borer beetle. In 2024, this tiny beetle has caused significant damage across Central America and parts of Africa, where it has been reported in regions that were previously unaffected. The coffee borer beetle, which burrows into coffee cherries, is a particularly devastating pest because it directly affects the quality of the beans. As temperatures rise, the beetle is moving into higher altitudes, threatening coffee farms that were once safe from infestation. This year, Costa Rica and Ethiopia have both reported record levels of borer beetle damage. Coffee leaf rust, another major threat, has made a strong comeback in 2024. In Central America, Honduras and Guatemala have seen entire farms wiped out by the disease. Coffee leaf rust spreads rapidly in warm, humid conditions that are becoming more common as climate change progresses. While the global coffee industry is facing challenges, it's the farmers who are bearing the brunt of climate change. In 2024, coffee farmers in Latin America, Africa, and Asia are struggling to adapt to rapidly changing conditions. Many of these farmers are smallholders who rely on coffee as their primary source of income. With yields declining and production costs rising, their livelihoods are under serious threat. In countries like Ethiopia and Uganda, some farmers are being forced to abandon coffee cultivation altogether. In Uganda, for example, coffee production is down by about 8% in 2024, leading to increased migration as farmers seek alternative income sources in urban areas. This economic impact extends beyond the farm. As coffee production declines, prices are rising, which will eventually trickle down to consumers. In 2024, we're already seeing a significant increase in the price of coffee. According to the International Coffee Organization, the price of Arabica beans has surged by over 30% compared to 2023 levels, making your morning cup of coffee more expensive. Despite these challenges, the coffee industry is not standing still. In 2024, there's been a growing focus on innovation and adaptation to ensure the future of coffee production. One of the most promising developments is the breeding of climate-resilient coffee varieties. Scientists in Brazil and Colombia have been working on developing new Arabica strains that can tolerate higher temperatures and resist diseases like coffee leaf rust. These new strains are already being tested on farms, and early results are promising. By 2024, some of these climate-resilient varieties have already been adopted by farmers in regions hardest hit by climate change. Agroforestry is another approach gaining traction in 2024. By planting coffee alongside trees and other crops, farmers can create a more resilient ecosystem that helps protect coffee plants from heat, pests, and diseases. Agroforestry also helps restore biodiversity and improve soil health. In countries like Peru and Rwanda, agroforestry programs are being rolled out to support smallholder farmers. The financial side of adaptation is equally important. In 2024, more organizations are stepping up to provide coffee farmers with access to the resources they need to adapt. The Global Coffee Platform, for instance, has launched new initiatives to provide farmers with access to financial tools like low-interest loans and climate insurance. These programs are designed to help farmers cope with the short-term effects of climate change, while investing in long-term solutions to protect their crops and livelihoods. In addition, partnerships between governments, NGOs, and the private sector are increasing in 2024 to develop sustainable coffee production methods. For example, the Coffee and Climate Initiative has expanded its efforts this year, working closely with farmers in Latin America and Africa to implement climate-resilient practices. These collaborations aim to empower farmers with the knowledge and resources to reduce their vulnerability to climate change. Climate change isn't just affecting coffee producers, it's also beginning to impact consumers around the world. In 2024, coffee drinkers are feeling the pinch as coffee prices continue to rise. With Arabica beans in particular, supply constraints due to lower yields in Brazil and Colombia have caused global prices to surge. As prices rise, consumers are being pushed to consider the origins and sustainability of their coffee. More coffee brands are now emphasizing transparency and sustainability in their supply chains. Certifications like Fairtrade, Rainforest Alliance, and organic labels are becoming more important to consumers who want to ensure their coffee is ethically sourced and environmentally friendly. At the same time, companies are innovating to make coffee production more sustainable. In 2024, major coffee brands like Nestle, Nespresso, and Starbucks have invested heavily in sustainable coffee sourcing. Nespresso, for instance, is expanding its sustainability program to provide direct support to smallholder farmers in East Africa and Latin America, helping them adapt to the challenges of climate change through education and financial support. Another trend emerging in 2024 is the increased focus on reducing the environmental footprint of coffee production. Several companies are exploring more sustainable packaging solutions, reducing water usage during processing, and investing in carbon offset programs to make coffee production more eco-friendly. As consumers become more environmentally conscious, demand for sustainably produced coffee is on the rise. While the challenges facing the coffee industry are significant, 2024 is a pivotal year for adaptation and innovation. The future of coffee depends on how well the industry can adapt to the growing pressures of climate change. From developing climate-resilient coffee varieties to investing in sustainable farming practices, the efforts made today will determine whether coffee can continue to thrive in the decades to come. There are also exciting innovations happening beyond the traditional coffee farming model. For example, researchers are exploring lab-grown coffee, which could one day provide a sustainable alternative to traditional coffee cultivation. In 2024, startups in Europe and the US have made breakthroughs in developing coffee in controlled environments, using cellular agriculture to produce coffee without the need for large-scale farming. While this technology is still in its early stages, it offers a glimpse into how the industry could evolve. In the meantime, the coffee industry is leaning heavily on collaboration to ensure its survival. Farmers, scientists, governments, and private companies are working together to find solutions that can help mitigate the impact of climate change on coffee production. The shift toward a more resilient, sustainable coffee sector is already underway in 2024. And while the road ahead is challenging, the progress being made gives hope for the future. The story of coffee in 2024 is one of both challenge and adaptation. Climate change is already reshaping the way coffee is grown, traded, and consumed. For coffee lovers, the threat of a future where coffee is less available and more expensive is becoming increasingly real. But while the challenges are significant, so are the efforts to safeguard the future of this beloved beverage. The question now is whether the industry can move quickly enough to address the growing threats. Through innovation, sustainability, and resilience, there is hope that coffee can continue to thrive in a changing climate. For those of us who rely on that morning cup of coffee to start the day, the fight to protect coffee production is more important than ever. Thank you for watching Biz Breakdowns. If you found this deep dive into the impact of climate change on coffee production insightful, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more business stories like this. Let us know in the comments. What's your favorite coffee blend, and have you noticed the effects of climate change on your daily cup?